Hello, guys. I think I am right on time tonight. We are Legally Armed America. I am going to do like we normally do whenever we kick off these live streams and get rolling over here. Let people kind of ease on into the room and give you guys some shout outs as we do it. Um, hey, Jarrett, what's up, man? Andrew Dalton Ray, how's it going? Atrox, 666 baby. Guys, I will say this. I know we're kind of informal. I'm sitting on my back patio at my house. I know this is extremely informal for live streams that we do, or I try to do every Friday night. Um, my gun room upstairs, this is Louisiana, and when it's hot outside, it gets hot in my gun room. It's just not comfortable. The guns are fine. I'm sure that's the most important thing to all of us is whether or not the guns are okay, and they are in fact okay. Humidity, I keep my humidity down fine up there. I have a way to control that. And the heat's not unbearable. It's not like it's 100 degrees up there. It's just that it's not comfortable, and I don't want to go up there if I don't have to. So anyway, that's why I'm doing this. I know it's extremely informal. Yeah, I kind of intend it to be that way. You know, I'm not trying to make this a full-blown production like our videos are. This is intended to be, you know, like it is. So that's why I do this the way I do it. I see you guys are kind of easing on into the room. Let me see more of you guys that have come in. Edward, the Archangel, Richard, Portello, Keith Gregory, Armament and Axes, Matthew Court. Matthew Court coming to us from England. Wow. We may have some questions for you in a little bit. Good evening to everybody. Richard asked, what happened at Burger King down there not serving the police? You mean here in Lake Charles? I wasn't aware of that. That doesn't really fit the narrative of this area. We're very pro Second Amendment and pro law enforcement down here. I'm not sure did that happen just in Louisiana. Now, if it happened in Baton Rouge, Shreveport, or New Orleans, don't classify that necessarily as being the whole of Louisiana because the rest of the state does not function like those three areas do. Let's see. Iat Durian, I can't pronounce the rest of it. Eased in from San Diego. What's up, man? Bobby Zeke's in the room. Excuse me. I carry my revolver and single action is here. So far, that's it, guys. Not that that's it, but I mean, I know there's more people that'll kind of roll in as we get rolling. Extremely informal tonight. Totally unprepared, I guess, is the best way to put it. I'll talk about some of the things that I have going on, just so you guys know. And let's see. One thing I don't know, and I don't understand this, maybe somebody out there can help me. I don't know why my live streams now are mirrored, that everything is backwards. I don't understand that. I don't know why it's doing that. I checked about 5 minutes before we came on to see if I could figure out there's a setting that I haven't changed anything. So for some very odd reason, I've just been getting mirrored images and you guys are seeing it mirrored. So if I put words up there, you can't read them because they're obviously mirrored and they're backwards. I don't know what it is. YouTube has changed something that now it defaults to that, and it's a setting apparently that I need to go in there and find. And again, I looked briefly, but I know there's something there. So if anybody knows where to reverse that, please let me know because I would love to do it. I'm looking right now and I actually see something here. Nope, that's reversing the camera. Yeah, that's just giving me a, who wants to see a really cool filter? Yeah, that's really cool. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but there's some really crazy wild filters in here. I can do all this crazy World Cup crap. Let's just go back to normal stuff. Let's see. Yeah, this, I don't understand all the filters and stuff. But anyway, that's one thing I see that I can do. I don't know how to do the rest of it. Armament and Axes, yes, I'm using a phone, but I have used this phone before. Not sure what the deal is there. Richard, what are we talking? Hey, Mr. FNH, how's it going? You're talking about, again, somebody not serving. Who and where somebody not serve the police? I don't know where that might be. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's see here, guys. Okay, Mr. FNA says, I traded a PX4 Storm, full-size Type F pistol, chambered in 40 with two 14-round magazines for FN 509 9mm pistol with three 17-round mags. Sounds like you came out on top of that. I'm not sure what the FN 509 runs, but I would take a 509 over a PX4 Storm any day. Not that the PX4 Storm's not a great gun, but I mean, it's clearly not the gun that the 509 is. All right, let me get a couple of things going here. One thing, and this is one reason why I was mentioning the oddball things that are turned around on my YouTube that I can't control. Obviously, I'll have to read this because clearly it's not going to come across now. But I've been reading a book that the left won't read. This says Aggression in the Schools. Aggression in the Schools is the name of the book. It's the series in clinical and community psychology. And it's just, you know what? For a guy like me, it's nothing but words. There's no good pictures in there. My reason for doing that is because I'm serious about kids in this country. I'm actually one of the few guys out there that talks about it, that actually wants to do something about it. Everybody on the left that wants to make these really cute little t-shirt and bumper sticker slogans and, you know, print t-shirts and signs and go storm Congress and be rude and shout at them and, you know, tell them, you know, this is our future, we're the future, blah, 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 blah. You know, they all talk about wanting to save the kids, but clearly their only intent is to ban guns. That's obvious. I mean, look, they know it's obvious, we know it's obvious. I actually care about the kids. My thing is, I would like to save some of these kids' lives. I'd like to save some of the over-medicated kids, some of the bullied kids, and fatherless homes. I'd like to save some of these kids' lives. I'm genuinely concerned for them because I feel like we have created the perfect storm in this country, and it's accepted because by blaming guns, you ignore the real cause out there, so no one's looking for it. You know what I mean? It's like when something is lost and you're looking somewhere else for it, you'll never find what's lost because you're not looking for it. And nobody's looking for any real issues to correct on the side of these children. They're not even looking at the accountability part of it with the children. They're simply trying to blame a gun. Meanwhile, the kids' minds are scrambled over here and we're having continuous problems. All these kids, you know, going through, you know, puberty, they're over-medicated, you know, you got this rush of hormones and medication, and they're being bullied. You know, there's no support structure at home, yet we blame a gun. So by blaming the gun, it takes accountability off of the teachers, the parents, the doctors, anyone. No one accepts any real accountability because guess what? We just deflected all the blame over here to a gun. So guess what? Now no one out here has any responsibility whatsoever because of what just happened, because we now have found the cause and it's a gun. So we don't have to look anymore. I'm still looking. I know that it's not the guns, just like you do. I'm not accepting the fact that the left is just stupid, which they come across as genuinely stupid. I don't mind telling you. But I'm still not accepting that because I know they're not all stupid. I know people on the left and they're not stupid. They might be naive in some cases. They may be burying their head in the sand. They may like the sound of some of the bumper sticker slogans that they have. They may be just getting paid. A lot of them are getting paid. The little David Hogg boy and his sister and the little bald-headed midget, they are definitely getting paid. They're making good money. I don't blame a teenager, a child, whose brain has not completed being formed yet. I don't blame them for taking the easy way out and for taking money. I know it's pathetic, but I don't blame them. If I were 15, 16, maybe 17 years old, and you started waving money at me, let me take the easy way out, I had not even decided. I kind of knew that where I was in life. I knew that I was a conservative. And I grew up in a not conservative, let me take that back. I grew up in a Democratic household, but I'm a conservative, and my family was conservative. I think my family didn't realize that they were actually Republicans which back then it meant something. Now it doesn't. They're all the same. But back then, I grew up in a Democratic, very strong Democratic household, but I was a very strong conservative. But even I knew what right from wrong. I don't think, well, you could not have made me anti-gun back then, even by waving money in my face. But let's say you're totally uneducated on a topic. Let's say for guns, for instance. Let's say you have the Glock and the 1911 argument going on. Okay, if you haven't picked a side on Glock and 1911, and let's say the owners of Glock come to you, and the owners of Glock, Gaston Glock himself comes to you and says, "Hey, Paul, that 1911, that's a 100-year-old design. That's outdated. That's junk. The gun's heavy. The gun only carries 8 rounds. They're known for jamming. The tolerances are useless. Our gun is better. I'm going to pay you some money to tell everybody that Glock is better than 1911. Are you willing to do that?" Well, if I'm a gun guy, for one, yeah. I don't know any better, so yeah. I'm young and impressionable, so yeah. And I'm broke, don't have any money, I don't have a job. Yeah, these kids they're rich. Their parents are rich, but they don't have any money. They're probably sitting back there going, man, this could be my future. If I'm this young and I'm getting all this money for what I'm doing, they even wrote a book for these kids and then let them put it out to say they wrote it. You got to be sitting back there thinking, these guys are doing everything for you except wiping your own butt. Why would you buck that? In other words, if you're not emotionally invested in one way or the other, like if you, again, as a gun guy, if you liked both 1911s and Glocks and somebody threw a bunch of money at you from the Glock side, you'd probably be like, I'm perfectly fine to do that. I can promise you some of these people in the gun community now, like the professional shooters, I can promise you that the company who is sponsoring them may not be the one that they really, 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 really like. I'm going to take Shane Coley, for instance, since we're talking about Glock. Now, not taking anything from Glock. I'm not pro or anti-Glock. I like all gun manufacturers. But Shane Coley is sponsored by Glock. I'll bet you if you went back and looked at pictures before Shane was signed on to Glock, you'll probably find pictures of him with other manufacturers of guns. So my point is, it's not like he was true blue, black-blooded Glock his whole life. I can assure you that the guy likes other guns still. His go-to gun might not even be a Glock. Of course, it probably is. I mean, Glock's not bad enough that if you become sponsored by Glock that you wouldn't just all of a sudden start using Glock. You want to represent your people, obviously. But I can promise you there's pictures of Shane prior to getting signed on by Glock where he's not, totally in love with all Glock products. Same thing here. These kids, their brains have not finished forming. They haven't matured at all. They're right smack in the middle of puberty, Their bodies haven't even matured yet, let alone their own brains. Your brain, I think, continues to mature until you're about 26 years old. These kids are 16 and 17. They got 10 more years to go for the rest of their brain to continue to grow. That includes intelligence, not just physically forming. That includes learning and maturing as an adult in your mind. So these are kids, and you're throwing money at them. So I get it. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. But they're continuing to talk about how they're survivors of a shooting, and never again is their little slogan. The thing is, they're not looking for a reason. They're not looking for a root cause. They're not looking for the real reason to fix. Because guess what? There's no money in fighting bullying. Again, bullying makes a nice t-shirt slogan, makes a great bumper sticker, a nice cool poster you can put up at your school that makes you feel good about what you're doing, but there's no money in it. Michael Bloomberg does not have billions of dollars that he's trying to mount these anti-bullying campaigns. Over medicating of kids, you don't have enough money to fight the pharmaceutical industry to try to fight the over-medicating of kids. So that's a lost cause. You may as well not even try that. In fact, I better knock on wood when I say this. Don't be surprised if you find me committing suicide because I'm going to say things about the pharmaceutical industry over medicating our kids. Now, obviously, I'm embellishing. I'm not a tinfoil hat wearing person. Nobody's coming after me. But they have that kind of money. The pharmaceutical industry could get rid of me in a heartbeat if they wanted to, if I ever became a real threat. So there's no money. There's definitely no money being anti-medication because all the money is on the other side. and they can make you shut up if they want you to shut up. So there's no money to be made there. There's definitely no money to be made on fatherless homes. In fact, quite the opposite. There's money to be made promoting fatherless homes because the government incentivizes families to stay split up and to have as many kids as you can without the dad around. You actually get incentivized. You get incentivized through supplements in your taxes. So that's a big business. So there's no money there. Nobody wants to listen to you because you're not going to go preach to somebody about how the family unit needs to stay together, because guess what? The people who are on the fence that don't really care, they're going to miss out on their tax money and the extra money that the government's paying them to bribe them to stay separated as a family unit. So they don't care either. So my point is, the three things that I feel like are, and I'm not even bringing up the video games. Again, I'm not anti-video game by any stretch, but even that came out this week, that video games were addictive and were problematic and things of that nature. So that's a piece that I haven't even addressed yet. So these kids have one of four options as far as I'm concerned. They can either jump on the anti-medication bandwagon. Nope, no money there. They can jump on the fatherless home bandwagon to try to combat that. Nope, no money there. Or they can jump on the anti-bullying bandwagon. Sounds great, great cause, no money there. Or fourth option, they can jump on the anti-gun, Michael Bloomberg funded bandwagon there. Big time money there. Everybody does everything for you. They pay your way, they pay your bills, they give you extra money, they write books for you, they let you sell books, they let you put your name on them, they make your t-shirts, your signs, they pay for the buses to send you everywhere, they make you into a quote superstar. They do all these things for you, and you get to meet celebrities and all that, as if celebrities mean something to, again, we're talking about young impressionable minds. It matters to them. You and I, most of us, celebrities don't mean squat to me. Celebrities, you earn my respect. You don't just get it. So celebrities don't mean anything to me. I'm not starstruck by people. I know I'm supposed to be, and most of you are probably the same way like me. I could care less. I'm at that age now where there was a time whenever names and what somebody had done, if they really did something, meant something to me. Now, yeah, there's probably some sports guys that I would probably love to meet. But as far as movie stars, look, man, I am so fed up and tired of movie stars and the like that I've really stopped watching TV because I'm so indifferent with them. I don't have anything in common with them anymore. That what I see is a crazy loudmouth liberal when I watch them. So I can't hardly even enjoy TV or movies anymore. So I don't watch them. So again, going back to these kids, I'm not making excuses for why these kids are so easy to manipulate. But don't you understand why they're manipulated? I mean, really, it's a cakewalk. Again, if I were 16, 17 years old and Glock was following me around, giving me money, if Glock put me in a bus, driving me all over the country to tell people how wonderful Glocks were and how horrible 1911s were, yeah, it probably would have bothered me because I would have had to hide some of my nice 1911s, but I would have probably done it. You know, I mean, you're getting paid good money, you're impressionable, they're treating you like you're somebody. I mean, that's another thing. You know, these kids are growing up in a world right now where you're not anybody. You know, the only thing that makes your value, and this is going to sound extremely ironic coming from me who's on YouTube, but your value is not based on how good of a person you are or what you have actually done. It's based on how many YouTube likes, how many Facebook likes, how many people share your videos or your posts and all that. That's where people have placed value on people these days. So now instead of being a good guy, hey, Matt Paul's a good guy, that doesn't mean anything. Hey, guess what? Paul's got 18 million views on his videos. Oh, really? Man, he must be a pretty good guy. You see what I mean? We've cheapened what makes somebody have any real quality to them now. And unfortunately, these kids are sucked into it. I mean, they were born in the Facebook age. And that's all that motivates them. And now they're out there, they're getting adults who are paying attention to them when their own mom and dad wouldn't pay attention to them 2 weeks ago. You know, now they got cameras thrust in their face. People are actually listening to what they have to say. You know, I don't think that all these kids' hearts are in the wrong place. I think the little bald-headed chick, the little crazy girl, something's wrong with her, and I hope she goes away. I don't mean I hope somebody kills her. Please don't misunderstand. I hope she gets tired and goes away on her own and chooses to go away. And make sure I clarify that, okay? Something's wrong with her. She's the one that admitted to bullying the kid who shot killed the 17 people in Parkland. She admitted to bullying this kid. She is part of the problem. This David Hogg kid, he's an ego hound, but I get his deal. I understand his deal. I'm not okay with it because I know the left is the one coaching him and he's just a puppet, but I understand him. The little girl, the bald-headed chick, I got a problem with her. I have a real problem with her because she is part of the problem. She cultivated that problem. I've got into a Twitter war with somebody this past week saying that, oh, she wasn't bullying. She just, when I finally got him to admit that she ostracized him, he said she ostracized him because he was dangerous. Okay. So you had a choice to either over here seek out help for this person who was dangerous. So you're admitting you knew that person was dangerous, but you did nothing. In fact, you fueled the fire by bullying this person, ostracizing him, isolating him, making him even more of an outcast. You did that because he was dangerous rather than going to somebody and saying, hey, Miss Guidance Counselor, I think we need to help this guy. It's not in her heart to help somebody. It was in her heart to bully him. I have a problem with that. And if I find out that this little punk David Hogg was part of that too, I'm going to change my opinion of him. I don't support what he's doing, but at least I haven't heard him admit to bullying this kid. Let me explain something to you. If you will go in front of thousands of people and on camera and actually admit that you ostracized somebody, you can believe that the level of bullying that actually took place was much worse than ostracizing him. I can assure you that this kid was probably, it would not shock me if the day before he shot that school up, that this little bald-headed chick was part of the reason why he went and shot that school up, because he was bullied by her. That would not shock me. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not making excuses for this jackass that went and shot everybody. But it's part of the problem. These kids, their brains are not fully developed. They're not capable of making decisions on their own. We as a society have removed all responsibility from them, so nothing they do wrong is their fault. There's always something to fall back on. There's always a reason to blame something or somebody else, so you never have to take full responsibility. So that's with all these kids. Heck, that's just like the little bald-headed chick bullying him. She doesn't take responsibility for bullying him. She doesn't think she's part of the problem. She thinks a gun is the problem. She's too stupid to realize what she did happened well before he decided he wanted to get a gun and shoot people. He might have gone and bought that AR-15 the day that she ostracized him. I mean, she's a mouthy little thing, so it wouldn't shock me that she was mouthing off to him in the cafeteria or something like that. That's what sickens me. So that's why I take it upon myself to do stuff like this. I'm the one trying to identify. I feel like if I can identify the problem and point it out, at some point somebody's going to listen to me on the other side. I know we all talk about it and we all understand what the real problems are, and I think we all genuinely care. Why are these kids killing each other? Why are these kids so aggressive? But we all know what the problem is. Unfortunately, we've got to track it down and be official by how we document it, or else no one's going to listen to us. So that's why I'm reading up a lot of the books that I can. I've done about as much research as I can on the medical side. There's so much information out there on the medical side for over-medicating these kids. The fatherless home side, that's a dead end right there. I feel like the only thing that anybody can make a real change on, honestly, is the bullying side, because you're not going to change the over-medication of kids. That's just not going to happen. Pharmaceutical industry has way too much money and a huge vested interest in it. That's not going to change. I don't have enough money, effort, and time and energy to fight the pharmaceutical industry, that's for sure. Fatherless homes. Who can fight the amount of supplements that the government's paying all these people to incentivize them to be to raise as many kids as they possibly can in a fatherless home? I don't have as much money. That's, I'm sure, more than money than what the pharmaceutical industry is throwing at over-medicating these kids. But bullying, maybe we can make a difference if we somehow or another change the culture. Change the culture somehow. Maybe if we make, and I don't have a problem saying this or doing this, maybe if we make the bullies, instead of making everybody feel equal, maybe if we make the bullies feel like trash, feel like garbage, feel like second-class citizens. You know, one way we have of normalizing the bullies, this is one of the biggest problems we've already got, is when we have a bully and and I'm going to do it like this because it's a smaller person. We have a bully and we have the person being bullied down here. When we treat both of these equally, the bully is bullying the bullied, all right? The bully the bullied punches the bully in the face. They both get expelled. They are equal. We want to make everything so equal that we are so stupid that we ignore the fact that they are not equal. Number one, they're not equal. Number two, they should not be treated equally. My son is a special needs son, so I'm never going to have a neurotypical child out there operating in the school system. But when I had my son, before I knew that he had problems, I told everybody who would listen, my kid gets bullied in school, you know what I'm going to tell him? Punch him right in the throat. Punch him in the throat as hard as you can, or punch him in the stomach if they're too tall. I'll deal with my son getting expelled. I'll find a school to put him in after that. I'm not saying everybody should do that. I'm telling you, this is the way I felt. Because I think it's bullcrap that the person being bullied continues to be treated just like the bully. No less and no worse, but just like the bully. How in the world do you curb bullying if you basically don't take away the incentive? The bullied person, there's no disincentive from the bully anymore, because now you've basically, look at it this way, all right? We have lawbreakers and we have people who follow the law, right? The reason why I carry a gun is because of the lawbreakers. Now you have the bully who are just like the lawbreakers, and the bully who's just like a lawbreaker, and the bullied who is being bullied, who is just like you and I, who follows the law. Okay, what does that mean? That means that we have guns so we don't go around shooting at people because we follow the law. Same way with the person being bullied. They're so intimidated about getting in trouble that when the bully does bully them, they don't speak out, they don't say anything, because they know they can't strike back. So now they just take it. So they bottle that up more and more and more inside. That's not right. We're actually perpetuating the problem. And we're incentivizing the bully, because now the bully knows that he can get away with it, because the kid, once he gets away with it one time, he knows the kid's not going to tell anybody after that. He can continue to bully, and believe me, you can bully plenty in a school where a teacher never sees it. I know you might be thinking, well, maybe he could get expelled for bullying that kid. No, they're not. I can promise you this. They expel them when they fight. If a teacher sees a bully bullying somebody else, maybe they send him to the office, maybe he gets detention, doesn't get expelled. You think they care? They got a cool name for themselves. Somebody got a cool video of the bully bullying somebody, and all he had to do was spend 1 hour in detention one afternoon. Big deal. Big deal to him. That's not a sacrifice. That's a notch on his bedpost. That's street cred right there. So unless they start expelling kids who are bullying somebody, the justice is not being administered equally. I'm telling you, by not letting a bullied kid fight back, we are perpetuating this problem, make it way bigger than what it is. And guess what happens? It bottles up inside of them. When do they go off? They go off whenever they want to kill a bunch of kids in school. That's when they go off. Every one of these people who has shot up schools or shot up young people, heck, shot up anything, you can always trace it back. For one thing, 100% of them are on medication. 100. Not most of them. Every single one is on medication. But they're also bullied. They're bullied. Check into it. Every one of them's bullied. Now, a lot of them are actually from fatherless homes. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. Adam Lanza, fatherless home. This last kid that shot up the Parkland School, fatherless home. The one in Santa Fe, I believe he was a motherless home. I think motherless. I know his father lived with him. I think the Columbine kids, I think at least one of them might have been fatherless. If you go back and look, a lot of these kids, most of them were fatherless. So my perfect storm that I keep talking about, nobody else wants to talk about. Anyhow, guys, I'll be reading a book, another one, like I need another one. I got them stacked up next to the bed. If you guys haven't seen my video on the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, you might want to check it out. This was a fun gun to shoot, man. Other than the gash that it took out of my finger right there when I charged this thing, put my hand under here without pulling it out, and the charging handle, when I had it back like that, I had my finger right up in this area, and when it went forward, it actually dragged my hand right up underneath in that track. So that was not cool. But yeah, I put the video out last night, I believe. Again, this is the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. It's a fun gun to shoot. What's pretty interesting is this heavy bolt that comes back. You got to figure this thing comes, there we go, comes all the way back like that. So where you have your cheek right there, one of the things that I noticed, that bolt coming right back in here, it was the funniest sensation when I was shooting this thing, is that at first I thought there was something, and there's nothing there. I thought something might have been grabbing hairs on my my face, because I could feel that. It just very uncomfortable. It didn't hurt, and it wasn't like a horrible pain, but it was like a discomfort. I was like, what is that? And then I realized that that extremely heavy bolt, this is a blowback action gun, that bolt just cycling back like that was creating a very weird sensation against my cheek right there. So where my cheek weld was, right across here, I could feel just the weirdest sensation. And I actually got online last night and did some Googling, and a lot of other people have experienced the same thing. So very strange, very weird. I don't see how the bolt cycling in the buffer tube, if you want to call it a buffer tube, I don't see how that is possible to cause that irritation on my cheek, but it absolutely was, because I'd be like, man, is it pulling the hair on my face? And it wasn't. Anyway, this thing is pretty cool. Sights aren't bad. I mean, they're clunky, chunky sights, but I mean, I gotta tell you, I was able to hit everything I was shooting at. It's kind of funny though, I did not reset this thing. I don't know if you guys can see that front sight. Notice how far off to the side it is. That's not an illusion. It really is that far off to the side. This thing was very accurate when I shot it. So the only thing I can figure is when they put the sights on, for some reason, this thing was shooting right. So they put the sights on to try to move the sights on further to the right to try to get me shooting back left again. I'm assuming that, because I was hitting the steel target at 25 yards with no problem. So it's like they corrected with the sights, but really, really off. Like I said, man, you can look at that. That's way off. You may not be able to see it as easily as I can, but that's definitely off. That's probably a 1/16 of an inch off to the side. So anyway, this is a cool gun. This is neat. I had fun with it. I'm probably going to make this kind of a semi-truck gun in nature. It just seems to be, we'll find out how durable it is, but it seems to be relatively durable. I just like the way it folds up. That is a Glock magazine that I have in there, a 33 rounder. It does come with a 10 round magazine. Somebody told me it was a PMag by Magpul, that the one that comes with it. So I will try that out and see how, I haven't run the magazine very much. I've run it a little bit. Let's see here, guys. What time we got? 7:34. I'm gonna try to go through here and look at some of your comments and questions real quick, because I know I always say I'm gonna do that, but I always forget. Let's see, guys. Yeah, I like watching y'all stuff. Mr. F&H, what are you talking about? Hitchcock 45 picked a terrible time to upload. What did he upload? I'm not aware of what's going on. Let's see. Looking through your comments. Archangel says, hey Paul, you need to reach out to Kevin Dixie at Knock. He has a great community outreach program. I actually was on Kevin's Instagram. he actually invited me on a couple of months ago. I was on a Friday night. Instead of doing my show, I went on his. So yeah, I know Kevin, not real well, but good enough to where we have got a lot in common. Kevin's a good dude. Okay, Mr. FNH says Hickok uploaded something while I'm streaming. Got you. Let's see, guys. I'm trying to see, just following the topics that you guys are talking about. Oh, before I forget, I think the second or third week of July. I'll go back and check the dates on it. I'll have to check my email, but I'll be the guest on Hank Strange's show, Lifestyles of the Cocked and Loaded. July something, man, I need to check. I'm just now thinking, I'm kind of stuttering when I say this because I'm wondering if I hope it's not the same night as there's the Friends of NRA banquet down here. And I hope it's not that same night. I don't know. I'll have to go back and double check and let Hank's wife know if I'm booked up that night. But anyway, I go to that, and all the banquets, if it's a gun-related banquet around here, I go to it and get a table. I just like supporting anything gun-related that's in this area. And the funds usually stay local, local communities. I know the Boy Scouts over here, they actually built a really nice range for the Boy Scouts using about $60,000 of the money from the local Friends of NRA banquet. That's really nice. So, yeah, I need to check on that. I need to find out if that's it or not. Let's see, guys. Well, you guys throw some topics at me because I have 20 minutes, and again, I'm not very prepared tonight. Actually, it's been one heck of a week. In fact, probably a little bit of a hot beer right here. Yeah. If you've got any kind of topics you want to talk about, I'm game. I don't want to get on my soapbox again because we've only got 20 minutes left, and I'll eat all that up complaining about something else. So if you guys have a topic, I'm happy to listen to. I'm trying to think of what. I have that 10 millimeter high point carbine that I will be doing a video on possibly tomorrow. I may have a video out this weekend on that. I'm trying to think of what other stuff that I have out there. I have a CZ Rami, I guess it's Rami or Rami, R-A-M-I, concealable hammer-fired gun, really cool little gun. Oh, I've got, for the sake of caring for a review, let me unload this thing. I have an HK VP9SK. This is my second one. This one has got the bronze Cerakote finish on it. If you like the P30 SK, which I love by HK, and the VP9, this is like the bastard brother of those two guns combined. Obviously, striker fired, taking the VP9 trigger and action of the VP9 and pretty much putting it into the body of the P30 SK without the hammer, of course. Striker fired using the VP9 technology. This thing is nice, man. I mean, actually, I know Jarrett's on here. Jarrett works at Action Arms, and they've got, if you're in the Sulphur, Louisiana area, you need to check them out. I was in there a couple days ago, and Jarrett, I don't remember, but I think you guys have 5 or 6 of these in there. I know you've got some other HKs also, but I saw a good handful of these. Maybe not quite as many as those, but I think at least 3 or 4 different variations. Very similar to this one. This one just happens to be that Lipsy's exclusive, so it's kind of got that bronze metallic finish, but I know that you guys have some at Action Arms that are more like a flat dark earth type bronze. I think one of them that I saw, you guys had the chassis, the actual receiver was tan and the slide was black. It was just the opposite of this. I saw one where the whole thing was flat dark earth. So I mean, I know you guys have some some variations of it over there. I love the gun. It's a great gun. I'm actually carrying this thing. I have an older one that's all black, and I carried it for a while. I really like it. and when I got this one, I'm going to use this one to do a review on, because I've had a lot of people ask me to do a review on that particular gun. So I've been carrying this one to make sure, I like to carry a gun before I do a review on it, if it is a carry type gun, so that I can comment on the fact that it is a carryable gun. I did get a good holster for it. It's funny because it's misleading. They will tell you that the P30SK holsters, if you're using Kydex, will fit the VP9SK, but they absolutely do not. The P30SK has a lever on the left-hand side of it, and I think it's a corresponding lever on the right side also. I want to say those might be slide releases. They have cutouts, or not cutouts, but moldings in the Kydex holsters for the P30SK, and the VP9SK does not fit down in it. Body-wise and shape-wise and trigger housing-wise, everything, all of that, yes, it does. But there's some little small grooves on the side that you can force it in there, but as you all know, a Kydex holster is made specific to a particular gun shape so that it clicks positively in, and if you run down the road or whatever, it doesn't bounce out, but it gives you a nice positive retrieval whenever you deploy the weapon. So I'm not going to jam one of my guns into a holster because it almost fits. I want one that fits. So they do make a VP9SK holster out of Kydex now. Actually a pretty cool looking one too, by the way. Kind of a nerd when it comes to some of my gun stuff, but this is pretty cool. It has the multicam on it. Very nice looking holster. It probably doesn't go too well with that burnt bronze finish, but who cares? I'm wearing it and it's concealed, so I'm the only one that's going to see it, or the guy getting shot if he's attacking me or my family. So yeah, cool holster right there. I like this thing. So I will be doing a review on this one very, very soon. Keep an eye out for that. Maybe next week. I want to carry this thing maybe another week before I do that. Anyway, let me go back and look and see if you guys are... Armament and Axe has asked, just curious about my age bracket. Do you mean like my age? I'm 50, if anybody's wondering how old I am. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. Yes, I'm 50. I'm getting into into the old fart category. It is a 9mm. Mr. FNH is asking. I'm assuming that's the gun that I just had. It's a 9mm. Let's see. Let's see, guys. Okay. Andrew Dalton Ray asks, thoughts on a retro AR-15 with a weathered mud rust coloring so it looks like it came out of Vietnam. Man, yes, to answer the question. I would get one if I were you. We are working on a project that's kind of cool, guys. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I'm working with three, because it's two different projects, 3 different manufacturers of firearms in the country right now. And these are 2 ideas for 2 different guns that I had that I'm working directly with them to try to get the prototypes down here so that we can start testing them. And it's probably going to happen. And one of them, I don't mind telling you because it's not like it's a huge secret, is that I'm wanting to recreate some of the Vietnam era rifles, AR-15s. Brownells has some of them that are kind of looking like that from back then. They get a little too wild with the colors some. But what I'm trying to do is work with 2 different companies, and I'm trying to make 2 different types of guns. One of them will be, I guess what I'm trying to do is create the retro look and the modern look to where you can pick from both guns in one manufacturer. One is going to have a very distinct retro look that the classic guys are going to like, and one is going to have a very modern look that, quite frankly, I would like both of them. I like the retro stuff and I like the new stuff. I'm not one of these purists that doesn't like modern looking stuff. I like modern looking stuff. I want to appeal to both crowds though. And man, I'm hoping, there's no guarantees, but really like to have this thing approved It's probably not going to happen for SHOT Show because too much has to happen. It actually involves the ATF. But hopefully by next year's NRA show, we can have something out. I really can't give any more details other than that, but it is AR-15 related, and it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about it. You guys will know about it, obviously, before anybody else will, because we'll cover it one afternoon or one night whenever we do this. So just to let you know. Armament Axe is going to be 52 in a couple of minutes. Happy birthday to you, man. Best of luck on the rest of your next 50 years, right? Let's see. I carry the revolver in single action. Yeah, I want a cold beer also. Mine's empty and it was hot. So when I get off of here in about 14 minutes, I'll be getting a cold one. Let's see here. I'm just rolling here looking at y'all's comments, guys. I can get caught up in that. Hey, man. Yeah, if you're a local dealer, local gun range or gun shop is a PSA dealer, that's pretty cool. Armament and Axes ask what brand of beer I'm drinking. Well, I'm not getting any money from them, and I'm not getting any free beer, but I am down here in southwest Louisiana, about 25-30 minutes from the Texas border, and Shiner beer is made out of Shiner, Texas, and I love Shiner box beer. This is their light blonde, and it's very good. If you guys can get it in your part of the country, I recommend checking it out. I love the regular Shiner Bock and the yellow label, but this is great. The blonde is a really good beer. I don't know, I'm not so much of a beer connoisseur that I can tell you all the little details, and I don't swish it around in my mouth or anything like that. I just drink it. So I don't know what kind of category it falls into, but it's very good. Let's see. Yeah, beer is good food. I don't drink a lot of beer anymore, to be honest with you guys. I really don't. That's like my second one tonight. I might drink 2 more, and I'll be done. So as you know, none of my guns are loaded. I am at my house, and I have a loaded gun on my hip. But just to make sure everybody knows, I would never hop in my vehicle or leave my yard, honestly. I'm being truthful to you guys with a loaded gun because I value my privilege of carrying concealed carry, and I don't want to get into the argument about open carry or you have the constitutional right to carry no matter what. I don't want to lose my privileges to concealed carry, so I never bend the rules. If I'm drinking beer and I'm not in my house or in my yard, I will not carry my gun with me. You know, I just won't do it. I'm not taking a chance. I value what I have way too much. There have been times whenever I've gone to certain places where I couldn't carry a gun, and I know what it, I know what it feels like to be without a gun. I mean, if I'm one of the guys I will carry in a church in a heartbeat. No one should be able to see that I have a gun on me. But say like if I go to a police station or a courthouse or a post office, places where it's a big time crime, bank. I won't go in a bank carrying my gun. I don't carry a gun, and that's a horrible feeling. I will usually just hit the drive-through at a bank simply because I don't want to disarm myself and go into that bank without my weapon. So, yeah, I know what it feels like to take my gun off and have an empty holster and walk into a bank knowing that it is a bank and people have been known to rob banks, and that at any given moment I could be, right in the middle of a firefight and not have a weapon, not have a loaded weapon to protect myself or my family. It's not a good feeling. So that's why I don't risk it. That's why I don't risk losing my gun rights by doing something stupid or that I'm not supposed to do, carrying at the wrong time or anything of that nature. I follow the rules when it comes to carrying. Because then, I don't want to lose that privilege. I don't want to get to the point where I'm breaking the law if I'm trying to carry a gun to protect me or my family. So I'm pretty adamant about following the rules. I will follow them. I'm pretty adamant about following the law. I will get in a ton of trouble at some point saying this, but I follow gun laws I ignore gun rules if it means that I have to disarm myself. What I mean by that is, you walk into a Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese is known for shootings. The reason why is because you have parents who are recently divorced, who mom is bringing the kid to Chuck E. Cheese or dad is bringing the kid to Chuck E. Cheese. Usually it's the mom brings them, and the dad is mad because the mom has a new boyfriend and now he just can't get over the fact that his wife is sleeping with somebody else, and that's his kid. I don't want anybody else being around my kid. And he knows that the wife is bringing the kid to Chuck E. Cheese. He waits outside Chuck E. Cheese. He sees her go in with the boyfriend, with the kid. That's my kid. I told you I don't want my kid around anybody else that you're sleeping with, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, there's a shootout, and the boyfriend and the mom are both dead. That's not a scenario I'm making up. It's happened. So when you walk into a Chuck E. Cheese and you look directly to the right, there's a sign that says no guns allowed. That's a rule. That is not a law. If you don't see the sign, which I don't look at it, so I don't see it, then if anybody were to see that I had a gun on me, which they're not going to because I'm concealed, I know how to conceal carry, right? You're concealed carrying. So they're not going to see it. If a shootout ensues there between the deranged ex-dad or ex-husband or boyfriend, whatever, then I'm going to be prepared and I'm going to put a bullet in him. And if I get in trouble at that point, I'm okay with that because I'm going to live to see another day. And believe me, if I'm at Chuck E. Cheese, it ain't because I'm going over there to see Chucky. It's because my kid is there with me. And I will protect my son by any means. So that's a rule I'm willing to break because the way the law works, at least here in Louisiana, they have to ask me to leave. If they find out, let's say they see that I'm printing and they see that I have a gun on me, their responsibility at that point is to say, sir, no guns are allowed in here. I need you to leave the premises. And you know what I'm going to do? That's not a problem. I will leave. I'll grab my son by the hand and we will politely walk out. I won't make a scene. I'm not going to scream, shout, yell, or anything like that. I will leave, get in my vehicle, and I'm gone. Not a big deal. That's the worst they can do, is ask me to leave. Now, if I refuse to leave, they can actually hit me for trespassing, which is still a misdemeanor, but they can hit me for trespassing. It will never get to that point with me because I'm not going to get belligerent. I know I'm not supposed to do that, so I'm not going to fight them. So nothing goes on my record, nothing goes anywhere, and I still retain my rights to be able to conceal carry whenever I want to. It's whenever you become belligerent and you let things escalate and it causes a problem that you're threatening the right to carry a gun. Now that's the rule I said I will break. When it comes to going in a bank, that's a law. I'm not risking that one. Because even though I know I'm still not printing and nobody can see, who knows whenever they invent these new little invisible metal detectors and I don't know, where they can see that I'm actually carrying when I walk through the door. I know that sounds a little overly paranoid, but I'm not going to run the risk of breaking a law and suddenly not being able to carry my gun. Again, that's my deal. I'm not encouraging people to break the rules and go carry where there's trespassing signs or where there's no gun allowed signs out there. The reason why is because all state laws are different. Municipal laws are different. So I'm not encouraging you guys to do that. That's just what I do locally, and I'm very comfortable doing that because, again, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to make a scene. If it became known that I had a weapon on me and I were in a place where they had a rule of no guns allowed, I would just politely leave. And I'm never going to drink in those places. If I go into a place where I'm going to have even one beer, my gun stays in the vehicle, locked up. I don't take it in with me. Again, I'm not taking that chance. I don't want anybody to see me leaning over a bar, putting a beer to my lips with a gun on my side and run the risk of somebody like a cop or somebody else seeing that, and now I'll lose my privileges to carry my CCW. So again, I know everybody has a different opinion about that. Some of the really staunch constitutionalists out there feel like, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It actually does, because you could go to jail, and I don't want to lose my legal right. Whether I have an actual right per the Second Amendment to carry a gun on me or not without a concealed carry permit is irrelevant if the fact that whenever I do it, I'm going to lose those privileges, and now the only way that I can carry a gun on me is illegally. So then I run the risk of going to jail. I can't protect my family from a jail cell. So I will never take it to that level, to that length. It's just not going to happen with me. I am a rule follower. I'm sorry, I'm a law follower. I don't mind breaking a couple of little rules here and there as long as I'm not going to lose privileges or my constitutional right to do whatever I want to do. So that's just my spiel on that. I may do a video at some point. There's a couple of attorneys that I've talked to about doing a video on that very thing, because I think it's important that you stress to people that a lot of people feel like just because a company has a sign up there, and again, this is state specific and municipality specific also. You have to know your rules. Wherever you are, you have to know your rules. But I don't want people to misunderstand and feel like, oh, that little dinky sign up there that somebody hand wrote on the wall, that's the law, and I could go to jail if I break it. No. If you're just breaking a rule and the worst thing that can happen to you is they ask you to leave, I would encourage you all day long to properly conceal carry on those premises if you feel like it's something you need to do to keep your family and you safe. I would encourage you to do that. Now, if there's any kind of repercussion that could happen that would cause you to permanently lose your rights to conceal carry and or to own guns, that's the worst thing that could happen. I would tell you, don't even flirt with that. It's not worth the risk. So don't take it that far. And by all means, don't ever get belligerent. I don't ever think there's a place for that, because no judge is going to be okay with that if you go to court over something like that, that on top of everything you were belligerent. So anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents. Please don't go carrying into places in your state that prohibit that and all of a sudden come back to me and tell me that I told you to do that. I'm not telling you to do that. Check your local laws and everything before you ever run the risk of doing that. I certainly don't want to get anybody in trouble. Let's see. Man, I'm going to cut out of here in just a minute. I see we got 3 minutes to go. Let's see. Let me look at some of you guys' comments again here. Easy Edge says, I'm in California and I am 20 years old. I'm worried that they will do something to infringe on my Second Amendment rights. Duh, in California. If it came to that, do you have any suggestions on what to do? I know this is going to sound corny and everybody else has probably told you this. Move. That's all I can say, man. Just move. Look, if I lived in California, it's never going to happen. But if I lived in California, under the strict rules that you guys have, I would, this is me, I'm not telling you to do this, I would hide guns. I would be safe. I don't know what your concealed carry rules are over there, what your laws are. Again, if I was forced to live in the state of California and could not move, I would probably break laws. Honestly, you know, if nobody ever catches you, you're not really breaking a law, right? I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. It's like concealed carrying. As long as you are properly concealing, nobody should ever know that you're carrying a gun, right? Again, I'm not encouraging you to do anything illegal over there. What I'm saying is, if I were forced to live in the state of California and forbade to leave, I could not leave in any kind of way, I'm not going to be unarmed. I'm not going to have a defenseless family. It's not going to happen. That's just me. I would encourage you to move to a neighboring state. Arizona is a very pro-gun state, a very gun-friendly state. You know what? They've got decent weather. It's a little hot over there. You know, move to Arizona. I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, I cannot understand. There are so many pro-gun people in California. People mistake people of California for all the nutbags that we see on TV. You know, that's just like Louisiana. We don't all live in a swamp. That's what a lot of people think of. When people think of California, they think of a bunch of liberal nutbags that hate guns. Look, we ran some statistics on our show one time, and we have more people that watch our stuff out of the state of California than anywhere else in the nation. That's more than Texas, more than Louisiana, more than Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee. The South doesn't come close for the amount of people that support us in the state of California. That's not anti-gun people. There's a lot of good people in California, and there's probably more pro-gun people in California than any other state out there. They're a very pro-gun state as far as the people there, but they're outnumbered by the wackos. You know, the big numbers that control all the things like San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, they're the ones that are controlling all the policy over there. And they're the ones that allow these crazy state laws to get passed in California. Other than all the wackos over there, there are a lot of pro-gun people in California, a lot of good people. And I know we laugh and joke about California, and those people get kind of caught up in the middle of it, but it's because of those heavily populated area that are controlling all of the state laws over there. So really, they're at the mercy of those heavily populated areas. Unfortunately, that's where most of the progressive liberals live, is in those heavily populated areas. And again, because of sheer numbers alone, they end up making policy for the whole state. So very unfortunate. I hate it for the people in California. I like the state of California. Beautiful weather. Every time I've gone there, I love it. I just can't wait to leave. I mean, honestly. Yeah, a couple of you guys are talking about the South. I'm never leaving the South. I love the South. Guys, it's 8:01 p.m. I am going to get out of here. I'm going to go grab me a cold beer. Probably think about what I'm going to shoot tomorrow. I am going to probably go shoot that High Point 10 millimeter. Can't believe I'm saying that, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably going to put some optics on it that are going to double the price of it right off the bat. Look, you guys, as I always try to say, you know, have a safe weekend. I know it sounds like a broken record sometimes, but, you know, I'm drinking a beer. I'm not driving anywhere. I'm not going anywhere tonight. If you guys are drinking tonight, please don't drive. You know, get a buddy or girlfriend, wife, whatever, to drive you somewhere. If you're going out, please be careful. There's a bunch of idiots out there. In many cases, it's the other people that we're more worried about than the ones than us. So please watch out for everybody else. Don't put yourself in a compromising situation. Always look over your shoulder. Don't be paranoid, but be ready. And, you know, shoot straight if you get a chance to go to the gun range this weekend. You know, have a good time. I like to always say this, man. Bring a kid. Introduce a kid to guns, to gun safety. Explain to them the proper, responsible way to handle and utilize a gun. Tell them why. Explain to them at a very high level the Second Amendment, why it's important to us. Explain to them other states like California, other places like Illinois that don't have the freedoms that we do. A lot of our kids, especially down here in the South, don't realize that every other state's not like us. I also like to mention that if you have an older aunt, uncle, great uncle, grandfather, you know, grandmother, who used to like to shoot guns, or they live on their own now and they need to be able to defend themselves, take them to the range. You know, reintroduce a person to guns. Give them a chance to go shoot. Most of these older people are not going to either go grab a gun and a wad of ammo and run out to the range by themselves. So if you invited them, you might be kind of surprised to see that they're going to say, yeah, I'd love to go. You know, they'd probably just dying for the chance to go. They're just not going to pack up and go on their own. So if you get a chance, do that. You know, that'll make our old folks safer also at home. But again, I really like the idea of bringing the kids out there and getting the kids introduced at an early age to gun safety and responsibility. Guys, we're going to see you guys next week. I will have a few videos coming out this week. Hopefully you guys will check them out. You know, ask your friends to watch them. Ask your friends to subscribe. I always like hanging out with you guys. Again, it's flattering to me that you guys will waste your Friday nights, kind of how I look at it, sitting here listening to me talk, and I appreciate that. And we're continuing to grow. You know, every week we have more and more people that watch us. I enjoy the interaction. And again, guys, thank you very much. Have a pleasant Friday evening, a great weekend, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks again, guys.